of Mick Ruby and Realist TV.
Anyway, cunts, adios, I'm out of here.
Good morning, good afternoon, and wherever you are in the world. Yes, it's definitely, sorry about the bad words. I'm not going to say the C words, but you should be out of here, Glazers. And welcome to MUFC Realist TV and the Glazers Out show. My name is Mick Ruby. I'm your host and very proactive Glazers Out campaigner. For the past 7 years, I have not been at Old Trafford. I have not sponsored the Glazers pockets. The only merchandise that I bought is, I'm not ashamed to say, it's a China counterfeit whenever I'm traveling or order through a certain website. Now, it's been some controversial sparks on social media and Twitter since yesterday, since Jim Ratcliffe personally came out and had a one-on-one interview again with Financial Times back in London. There was a lot of media reading into it, a lot of Twitter spaces, a lot of people having, another opinion that, oh, we are screwed, he's not going to buy us. But the thing is, when you actually analyze it and look into it, Jim Ratcliffe is actually simply saying that, hey, I love Manchester United. It's my boyhood club. It's been run badly, and basically everything has a price. You can definitely see, how he's actually reacting on the questions. It's simply like this when you think about it. Put it like when the press is actually asking any gaffer or any manager about a player that's not part of your club. What is the typical response? You're not going to give away your strategy, even if you're in for that a particular player, let's say Frankie de Jong or something. Typically what Erik ten Hag will respond saying, I'm not going to talk about other players that belongs to other clubs. And on a certain ways, there's kind of the same business ethics. Like, you would say that, yeah, Joel and them, they're good guys. Yeah, I met them before. But at the end of the day, I want to make Manchester United great again. And I'm Jim Ratcliffe, and I have billions. So what we're going to do here is kind of debunk yesterday's interview, basically what went on yesterday. So, and I'm just going to put my thought process to it. But at the end of the day, I present you with the alternatives. I've been following this ever since it was brewing back in a couple of months over the summer, May, June, July, when Ratcliffe's spokesperson came out and had a talk with Financial Times in London. So this is pretty much a follow-up and what's been brewing in between until now and where we stand and why the reason Glazers needs to sell. I think it's coming down to the point that if they want to keep the club, the pressure is on that they need to invest in the rebuild of the stadium. They need to rebuild the Carrington facility ground. Since even Ronaldo left, they haven't even changed the bathtubs. So the same old pool, same everything is kind of broken. And in the interim, while we have a new background staff like Erik ten Hag and Mitchell van der Gaag, and we have football running people, including Richard Arnold, and just go back in timelines where Richard Arnold had his interview and he said, in order to build the new stadium, in order to, build a new training facilities, Carrington, I need investors. I need minimum £200 million, minimum. And that's just a minimum. And yeah, he's talking about the owners, but it was, in a way, a sort of a cry for help that the owners will never dip into their own pocket. They're using us as a cash cow, as always, taking out dividends year after year, leaving us still in a massive debt, which is disgraceful in a way as a Manchester United fan. What more is there to think about? It's crystal clear where the financial market is kind of dipping. We are heading towards a recession. The dollar is crashing. The interest rates are going up to service the debt ranks against the loan and the banks. That means that you, as an owner, you cannot take out your dividends without, being pissing off further the fan base. So it is inevitable. So let's go into actually what he actually said. Let's go into this. Let's look into this. I've sort of done a compilation about 4 minutes out of yesterday's interview where Jim Ratcliffe was asked directly. It's about 4 minutes clip when he was asked directly about his interest in purchasing Manchester United. Let's have a look at it. I will put my comment on it. It's up to you then to decide. What does it mean? But I will kind of debunk it from my lenses. Let's go.
United, because they think you would run it differently. Firstly, do you think you might? Is there a chance of that? And secondly, would you run it?
Might I run it differently, or might I run it?
Might you run it differently? I'm sure you'd run it.
I think the answer about performance on Manchester United is a simple one, really, that the biggest correlation in success in football is money, without question. It's not the only correlation, because you've got outliers like Brighton. Okay, but the biggest correlation by far is if you've got the highest revenues, you can afford the best players, you play the best football. Yeah? And Manchester United is one of those, it was one of those top three clubs. You had
absolutely
the two in Spain, Madrid and Barca, and you had Manchester United, and the all-in revenue was about 800 million. There's a few more have joined that club now, of course, because you've got Bayern Munich, you've got PSG, you've got, I can hardly say it, Manchester City.
He doesn't like that one.
And Liverpool are a little bit closer, but Manchester United are not playing in that league. They're not playing in the league of those other teams at the moment, and they haven't done for quite some years now, really, since Sir Alex stepped down. So something it differently, or might I run it?
This is how you should
Might you run it differently? I'm sure you'd run it.
Look at his body language. Look at how proud he is.
I think the answer about performance on Manchester United is a simple one, really, that the biggest correlation in success in football is money.
It's money.
Without question.
We need money.
It's not the only correlation, because you've got outliers like Brighton. Okay, but the biggest correlation by far is if you've got the highest revenues, you can afford the best players, you play the best football. Yeah? And Manchester United is one of those, it was one of those top three clubs. You had the two in Spain, Madrid and Barca, and you had Manchester United, and the all-in revenue was about 800 million. There's a few more have joined that club now, of course, because you've got Bayern Munich, you've got PSG.
It's all about the revenues.
You've got,
it's all about investing into the club.
I can hardly say it, Manchester City.
It pains him to say Manchester City.
And Liverpool
body language
closer, but Manchester United are not playing in that league. They're not playing in the league of those other teams at the moment, and they haven't done for quite some years now, really, since Sir Alex stepped down. So something is not, they're not firing on all cylinders. So I think that would be my point on performance, really, and
would you like to come back for another? Do you think
this sounds like a man that has a plan? We're not firing all four cylinders. Look what he's saying now. He pauses before he wants to answer the question.
I mean, I'm a lifelong Manchester United fan, and I was there in '99, that most remarkable match in '99 when in Barcelona. So that's sort of deeply etched in my mind. But Manchester United is owned by the Glazer family, whom I have met. I've met Joel and Avram, and they are the nicest people, I have to say.
I did not expect him to say that, but of course he's met the Glazers family. They had discussions of him, buying a share of Manchester United. Preferably he wants 100%, but he has to say they're nice people. This is a similar situation when in the presser, when somebody's asked the manager, like, what do you think about that? What are you going to think he's going to say? He's only going to say nice words. Let's continue.
They're proper gentlemen. They're really nice people, and they don't want to sell it. And it's owned by the 6 children of the father, and they don't want to sell it. So, if it had been for sale in the summer, yes, we would probably have had a go, following on from the Chelsea thing. But we can't sit around hoping that one day Manchester United will become available. So.
Well, listen, everything is for sale, Jim. You know it. Everyone knows this in business. everything has a price. They had a discussion. Manchester United is for sale. There's still ongoing talks. But look at his body language. Look how he gives it away. Look how he's carefully thinking in what he's saying. It is perfectly planned from Jim Ratcliffe. This is great strategy. Let's continue.
So I think what will happen now is we have a sports franchise, which is a really interesting franchise. I mean, we own a third of the Mercedes Formula One team, which is, it's been the most successful in the last few years. Robbed last year, obviously. But, we've got a great cycling team. Eliud Kipchoge we're quite close to. And probably the most challenging of all is Ben Ainsley with his America's Cup Challenge, which is going quite well at the moment, and that's obviously a couple of years away. But the one thing that we don't have is the most popular sport in the world is football. It's the sport which John, Andy and myself were brought up with, and it's sort of closest to us. So we should have an asset in the sporting franchise.
A Premiership club?
Well, not a Premiership. I think a Premier club.
Listen to this, a Premier club. That means an elite club like Manchester United.
Okay.
A Premier club. And I think Nice has got a very interesting history. It's an old club. It's in a very nice place, a very attractive place for footballers because it's
Nice,
it's a Californian
Manchester United, Jimmo.
And if I look at what Manchester City did with Manchester City, what Mubarak did with Manchester, or Mubadala did with Manchester City, what the Qataris did with PSG was just a Lyon or a Marseille, 10 years ago. Then we'll probably have a look at what we might be able to do with Nice. But
this is his plan. What he wants to do with Manchester United. He wants to pump in the money.
Further questions? Must have some more.
So, you have it, people. Now, what do we read into this? What should we read into this? I mean, it's a man basically saying that in order to make Manchester United grand again, we need to invest money. He wants to invest in an elite club. He's already the owner of Nice. Given the questions that is been thrown at him, he's handling this press conference like a trained PR person. But again, if your intention is to buy Manchester United, you just don't go and, if you play Texas Hold'em, you just don't put all your cards on the table visible, right? You keep your cards close to the chest. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, Jim Ratcliffe and his consortium, or just Jim Ratcliffe himself, are looking still to purchase Manchester United. That is his dream, that is his legacy, and he wants to do it because he thinks Manchester United should be a fan-based, community-owned, not to take profits, but pump in the money to make United great again. Well, that's about me and what I think. But I'm really interested to understand what you think. So please leave your comments below. Please like and subscribe. And we have a very exciting week in front of us. We have Europa League with Omonia back in Old Trafford. And of course, Sunday, which is Newcastle. Thank you for now. And please like and subscribe. Take it easy, people. Cheers. See you guys. Of Mick Ruby and Realist TV.
Anyway, Consarios, I'm out of here.